This meeting shall come to order at 7:05. Councilwoman Jones will lead us in the invocation. Would you please join us in God's
Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bond of this community in which we live. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that will affect this city. Continue to remind us all that we do here today is for the greater glory of God. In your name we pray.
Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, all. Would you call the roll, please?
Adams.
Here.
Jones. Here. Sephardi.
Here.
Jackson.
Excused.
Brownlee.
Here.
Trojanski.
Here.
Agee. Here. Albers.
Here. There's no addendum this evening, but we do have minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meetings held on January 21st, February 4th, and February 18th, 2014. 15.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Madam President, for comment.
I asked for a roll call, please.
Adams. Jones.
Yes.
Sephardi.
Yes.
Jackson. I'm sorry. Brownlee.
No.
Trojanski.
Yes.
Agee.
Yes. Thank you. There are no communications and no committee reports at this time, so we'll move directly to the department reports, and that would start with Fire Chief Cavalunas.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our department calls today are 143. With slightly warmer weather, hopefully near the thaw may reveal issues that we would like people to be aware of. Hydrants that may have been damaged, water main leaks, and any water leaks from vacant homes, sidewalks, roadways, etc. may appear as the snow and ice melts. If you notice any of these problems, please notify us and we will check and report the situation appropriately. Also, roadways are much more narrow due to built-up snow and ice. We have noticed vehicles parked a distance from the curb to allow for passenger access. Please be mindful that the extra distance from the curb narrows the roadway and makes access for our trucks difficult. Additionally, I'm pleased to announce that the mayor was able to reach an agreement with the communities involved in the Southeast Communications Center to allow us to proceed forward with consolidated dispatch. This will result in many possible positive improvements for the city, both in replacement of much needed equipment and a more professional and better staffed dispatching system for all the cities that are involved together in concert mutual aid. So I want to thank you for that.
Thank you. Law Department, Mr. Montello.
Just to piggyback on that, we are working to finalize that, that amendment. It's actually an amendment to the agreement. We agreed to participate, and you actually authorized it, Council, some time ago. Actually, a couple of years ago. At this point, I don't remember how long it was, but the mayor was adamant because of our fiscal situation to try to get us a fixed rate for this year. But they wanted us to pay 29%, but through his efforts, they allowed us, or they agreed to amend the agreement to allow us to pay 25% of the expenses of the. So thank you, Mayor, and working on finalizing that. Just don't have a start date just yet because there's no updated radios and all the vehicles and the fire department and police department and dispatchers have to be notified, and so there's a lot of work to do still. But we're working on it.
So there's no start date as yet?
Well, they were talking about March 19th, but I hear now that may not be possible because of they don't think they should get all four communities up and running at the same time. Plus, we need to give our employees some notice. Plus, the updated radio equipment isn't, it needs to be installed, and there's a lot of details to be worked out. So we're hoping for May 1st, I think, at the latest, but we're working on the details. The agreement was just reached Monday, so now we're trying to figure out the specifics. Thank you. And a report.
Thank you, John. Police Department, Chief Poplar.
Good morning again. Thank you, Madam Chair. For the month of February, the Police Department had 1,699 calls for service. Going along with Fire Chief Catalinas and Law Director Montello, we are involved in the Communications Center. It will help our dispatch, I guess, in terms of the equipment that we get. Our dispatch services have and always been good, and they'll continue to be that way until we make this switch. Part of the issues that we will face, and we have to face in addition to what Mr. Montello said, is obviously there's going to be some changes in terms of the day-to-day operations, specifically at the police department, in terms of how we handle lobby calls, that kind of thing. We're working towards that end. We have some calls involved in terms of how we're going to handle the 911 calls, as far as the setup of the lines and that. So it's a work in progress, but we'll keep you apprised of things as they come along. End of report.
Thank you, Chief. Human Services Department, Mrs. Bocat.
Thank you, Madam President. Two things. First, on the back table, you see 2 sheets of paper. One, our friends at Bob Evans are trying to help us to keep the senior center and food pantry open. So on March 11th and 12th, if you take a flyer, go to the restaurant, the Beechwood Bob Evans on Orange Place, not far from here, you can, everything you eat, 15% of that will be turned over to the Maplehead Senior Center. So it's open for both days. You do need to take a flyer with you. They will not have them that day. They're passing them out at the restaurant now, but on the day you have to bring it with you. So we encourage you to attend. It's from 6 o'clock in the morning, I think, until 8 o'clock at night. They've been very gracious. They were only going to do 1 day, and when I got the flyer, they had listed 2 days on for us. So that's very unusual, and we thank the district manager, Mike, and the local manager at Beechwood Place, Joe, for all of their continued support of our services. Secondly, every time around this year, the Senior Center holds a candy sale from Baker Candies. Old family company that's been in business since, I think, 1930 in the Collinwood area. This time, though, it is the last year Baker's will be closing its doors after the Easter season. They will be closed for business. This particular fundraiser, the First Catholic Slovak Ladies Association will match for the Senior Center up to $600. So if we can sell $600 worth of candy, they will match it with another $600, and again, that will go directly into the Senior Center budget. So the flyers are in the back. We'll pick the candy up the week before Easter here at the Senior Center, and we'll hope you take part in this event as well. A reminder that the AARP Income Tax Service is going to continue until the last day will be April 13th. We are booking on April 13th. So if anyone needs an appointment, make sure you give us a call as soon as possible. And the last and probably the best news I have for you tonight is thanks to the consideration of the mayor and the finance director and work with myself and our department, the Senior Center has been able, through grants, through switching from cash match to in-kind match with the area agency, through all of the fundraising efforts that we've had, and all of you in this room that have contributed to that and continue to contribute. We have people who are giving us money monthly to help keep us open. We're pleased to tell you that we have enough funds to go through the month of August of this year. So we're moving forward. We're hoping to get to the end of the year, and we thank you all for your support and your continued support as we move forward. Thank you.
That's good news, Ms. Bocat. Finance Department, Irene Cole.
Good evening to the mayor, council, and the residents. The finance department, as you probably know or guess, is busy working with the state auditors in the fiscal emergency and gathering documents still. We're also in the process of compiling and submitting to this body the 2015 permanent appropriations. So we thank you for your patience. That's basically, and then the audit. We'll be starting on the 2014 audit soon, so we're quite busy. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Citizens, residents, comments. If you'd like to step up to the podium, you have 3 minutes to ask a question and make your comment. Moving on.
Ordinance number 2015-05, an ordinance amending section 1486-02B of the codified ordinances regarding obtaining a rental registration license in the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
This ordinance is on its third reading. May I have a motion for adoption?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Call the roll for adoption, please.
Jones.
Yes.
Sephardi.
Yes.
Brownlee.
Yes.
Turjansky.
Yes.
Agee.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Passed by the vote 6-0. Ordinance number 2015-07, an ordinance amending the Maple Heights zoning map to change the zoning districts of 36 parcels in the city upon the recommendations of the Planning and Zoning Commission in the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency. This is as amended.
This ordinance is on its second reading.
Ordinance number 2015-08, an ordinance to make appropriations for current expenses and other expenditures of the city of Maple Heights, state of Ohio, for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2015, and declaring an emergency.
This ordinance will be held until our meeting on the 11th of March, and that will be meeting here at 7 o'clock, and that will be a first reading then.
Ordinance number 2015-09, an ordinance amending section 260-27, reducing the salaries of the mayor, the council president, and members of council for the next term commencing January 1st, 2016 in the city of Maple Heights.
This ordinance is on its first reading.
Resolution
Madam Chair.
Councilman Brownlee?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the first piece of legislation that I've introduced as a council member. Over the past year, I've observed the situation of the city, where we stand financially, observed also how other communities in our like situation have had to deal with the problems that we are facing now. One thing that is unavoidable, cities in our situation have to make difficult choices. And time and again, I've heard from other officials in other cities as well as state officials that the most difficult thing is for the members of the city governance to recognize the severity of the situation and then take action that is in kind, action that is commensurate with the situation. And so what we will have to face is that we're going to have to cut things that are unpleasant. And I believe that best principle dictates that we, the governing body, as well as the head of the administration, take the first bullet in leading our city to fiscal solvency. If we were to approve this ordinance to reduce the salaries of the mayor and council, we would realize in 2016 and moving forward annually a savings of $37,000, which comes to roughly 2% possibly of the annual deficits we've been facing. So that would be a good start. But the amount of money I don't think is so important as our setting an example as elected officials that we're willing to lead the charge in making the difficult decisions and the difficult decisions that affect us personally. So that's where this legislation comes from. It will realize the savings, but more than that, it will lead us in the right direction as we move forward as a city in making the difficult choices that are ahead.
Resolution number 2015-10, a resolution designating March 2015 as Multiple Sclerosis Education and Awareness Month in the city of Maple Heights and declaring an emergency.
Mayor, may I have a motion to suspend the rules and place this resolution on its third and final reading? Motion, please. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Call the roll, please.
Jones?
Yes.
Sephardi?
Yes.
Brownlee?
Yes.
Jajanski?
Yes.
Agee?
Yes.
Adams?
May I have a motion for adoption?
Second.
Any other further discussion? Call the roll for adoption, please.
Jones?
Yes.
Sephardi?
Yes.
Brownlee?
Yes.
Jajanski?
Yes.
Agee?
Yes.
Adams? Passed by the vote, 6-0.
And Councilman Jackson, I'm sure will be pleased with that vote. Thank you, Council. Your expenditures, turn to your expenditures over $1,000. That would be 2015-18 through 20. May I have a motion to approve, please?
Second.
Call the roll.
Jones?
Yes.
Sephardi?
Present.
Brownlee?
Yes.
Jajanski?
Yes.
Agee?
Yes.
Adams? Thank you. Passed.
Thank you, Council. The Mayor's report, please.
I have no report.
Councilwoman Jones, District 2.
Madam Chair, I don't have a report.
Councilman Sephardi, District 3.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think everybody knows that winter is taking its toll, and the numerous calls of broken water lines and sidewalks not being clear and all that have been coming day after day after day after day, and I thank the residents for their patience. You know, we do try our best. Service department does their best, along with all the other departments, and we're also at the mercy of the Cleveland Water Department. So I know that they're doing their best too, so I do appreciate all of their patience and understanding, and this kind of goes to, you need boots on the ground, you need some help, and you know, we're limited on what we have, so we make do with what we have, and we go from there. The second thing I wanted to comment on is the payroll reduction on council and the mayor. What I would like for everybody in this room who's in the audience over the next 4 to 6 weeks to come to the podium and give us your opinion. What do you think? Is it enough? Is it too much? I would like to hear from the residents on this, because that's, you know, who we follow, and that's what it's about. It's what everybody thinks, and you each have your own opinion. So hopefully we could work up the nerve to go to the podium and just say, hey, I'm in favor of it, or just state your opinion. I would appreciate it very much. Thank you. End of report.
Thank you. Councilman Brownlee, District 5.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Winter is, we might be on the backstretch now, which is a good thing. The roads have seen a lot of abuse with the snow plows, and they keep getting narrower, like the fire chief said, because the snow plows can only push it so far, but the pile's getting so big. One thing to be aware of at this point in time, as winter is winding down with so much snow on the ground, is flooding. We've been paying attention to flooding. We've already had an instance in one of the streets in District 5, at least one of the streets, where in a low spot in the road, the water has pooled because the drain was frozen over. That's something to be paying attention to as you're driving, and if you happen to live on a street that happens, please make a phone call to your representative so that it can be brought to the attention of the service department, so we don't end up having a bunch of water down there in a low spot, and then we get a cold spell and it turns into a giant block of ice on the road. So that would be very helpful to us. As we begin the budgeting process, we've had, in the past 2 years running, the budget that we pass in March ends up hardly resembling the budget that is our final budget at the end of the year. It's been increased by millions of dollars both times in the past 2 years. Last year, our original budget forecast $18 million in expenditures. We spent over $20 million last year. These gross miscalculations, for whatever reason, have really hurt the city, because we have spent more money than we really have available. And we need to be very realistic about the amount of money we project to bring in and the amount of money we will need to run the city for the year, at the beginning of the year, because we really can't stomach another year like the past two, where we blow past our appropriations and spend millions more than was originally forecast. So this needs to be a very careful process. I invite you to come to the budgeting meetings. Last year we had some long ones with a lot of discussion, but please come, and I would value hearing your opinions on certain things. Hopefully we'll have the budgets here soon. We were supposed to have it tonight, but we don't. Hopefully we'll have it soon so that it can be disseminated to you, so you might be able to look at it and we can inform you on what's happening. Our city is at a pivotal point in time, as you are all aware, and this year is more important than the year prior and more important than the year prior to that, because we have no more wiggle room left. We are absolutely out of it. So I hope that this year we can successfully consider our expenditures in an honest fashion, and that the budget we forecast in March turns out to be the budget that we end the year with, because we did an excellent job in forecasting the needs of the city. I hope that you stay warm through March, and don't forget that we have our first budgeting type meeting next week, as well as a meeting with the auditors next Wednesday to hear more of what fiscal emergency will mean for Maple Heights. So with that, may God bless you and may God bless Maple Heights.
Councilman Trojanski, District 6.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to thank my colleagues on council for passage of Ordinance 2015-05. This ordinance will modify the city's rental ordinance to prohibit the issuance of rental registration licenses of properties with a delinquent tax balance. Taxes will need to be brought current either by payment in full or entering into a payment plan with the county. I mean, simply, if you're renting or planning to rent your property, whether commercial, residential, or Maple Heights, you will need to pay your property taxes. Maple Heights, with the passage of this ordinance, will now become the second city in the county to have such an ordinance. And I think it makes an important step towards ensuring the protection of our tenants, our city's housing stock, and the preservation of our tax base. So thank you so much for council for your support on the ordinance. In February, I talked about having a citywide health and wellness service with university hospitals and the Cuyahoga County Public Library System, and we just finalized the date. The date will be Saturday, August 15th at the Maple Heights Library in the auditorium from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Visitors will have access to basic health screenings, blood pressure, glucose, cholesterol, and so forth. The goal is to provide a relaxing environment to celebrate health and wellness and engage members of the community. So I hope to see you at the Health and Wellness Fair on August 15th. And if you recall, in January, Council passed a resolution honoring Rosa Parks, and I just received a letter from the Rosa Parks Museum. It said, "Dear Councilman Trojanski, I was pleased to receive a copy of the resolution declaring February 4th, 2015 as Rosa Parks Day in the city of Maple Heights. We appreciate your efforts to honor the legacy of Rosa Parks. Please extend my sincere appreciation to the mayor, the council president, and the members of city council for their support of the Rosa Parks Museum." So thank you again to council for their support of this resolution. And with that, I conclude my report.
Thank you. Councilwoman Agee, District 7.
Good evening. First, I would like to thank Chief Papalarski for taking the time out last month to attend my roundtable discussion with the Maple Heights seniors. I received a letter from one of the Maple Heights seniors that attend, and I would like to share it with you. Dear Chief, thank you for the advice you gave me at the library. Now I know what to expect when I turn 18. I know now to be responsible for all my actions, because my actions can affect my future, whether it is positive or negative. Also, my actions will be looked at a social point of view once I turn 18. I do understand to stay away from anything that can get me in trouble, even if it's something that makes me guilty by association. I do thank you for your advice, because I know that is for my well-being, to be safe and caution for the things that happen in my life. I also thank you for keeping the city of Maple Heights safe for everyone who lives in the neighborhood. I do thank you for giving my friend and I a one-on-one talk about these things. I do wish that more students would have came to the conference to learn what I have learned, because it really helped me in the long run. But all in all, I thank you for the advice, what you do to keep this city safe, and what you do to save lives for the residents in Maple Heights. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me. That was very kind.
District 7 Block Watch meeting will be March the 19th at the Maple Heights Library at 6:30. Please plan to attend. Southgate updates. The former J. Roy's Lounge has been under construction and should be ready to open up in 60 days. The new tenant is H2O, an upscale resident and lounge. In mid-May, Southgate is having their 60th anniversary celebration. Once I receive the information regarding the date and the time of the celebration, I'll pass it on. End of report.
Thank you. Councilman Adams, District 1.
Thank you. Good evening. I only have one thing to say with the salary reductions. I know Councilman Brownlee wasn't here until 2012 when we did discuss this, and we discussed it twice and had a lot of debate about it, and we cut the mayor's salary, safety director, and council. Council was taken 2 pay reductions. I'm a union man and I believe in getting paid for what we do, all of it. I know most of us puts in time. I have block watches. The others here have block watch meetings. I don't know about Councilman Brownlee. Plus, my residents in District 1 knows you call, tell me there's a problem out there, and that something has to be looked at. I jump in the car and I go check it out. So when you come to this pay and the deficit that we're facing, we've been trying to come up with ideas to bring that deficit down. It wasn't our fault, it was the state, the county, and a few other things. If you attended all the meetings, you know that. We won't go back in through all that. I just hope this isn't a problem that the residents take upon the mayor and his council, thinking what Mr. Brownlee is proposing. We are working for you, the residents, and we'll continue to do that. When it comes to pay, to me, this smoke is hiding the fire. This don't amount to a hill of beans to reduce that deficit. And if it did, I'm pretty sure each one of us would step up to the plate. We're riding in the middle on salaries. So let's don't get stuck with this council and mayor pay issue. You should be compensated fairly, justly, and I think in our last 3 discussions on this same issue, Mr. Brownlee wasn't here in 2012. Most of you heard about them, was there on the discussions and heard about them, and we came at a safe, fair price. It was, the mayor's salary was reduced to $80,000 a year with an additional $5,000. That was in 2012. This is 2 years later. And I think that is fair. I think all of you should agree. Maybe y'all think maybe it should be a little more. afford it, we probably would. The mayor should be compensated. And that's all I have to say about that. District 1, ongoing problem with garbage enforcement on many streets in District 1. I was back out delivering my letters, knocking on doors. I had one resident from Walford that was kind enough to give me a call with my letter that I put out, asking her to put her garbage out on Tuesday night at 6. She explained to me about her son took the garbage out early because she told him, make sure you get it out because I'll be home late tonight. And she said it will never happen again. So I thank that resident. Had a lot of calls about the snowy and icy streets on Rochelle, Steinway, Walford, and Janice. I again explained that we do the main roads first. We had trucks broken down, and we have 6 people working in the service department, and I think they're doing a fine job, and after we talked, they thought we did too. Had a strong sewer smell on Florence Drive with a broken catch basin. And I referred that call to Tanya Black, which did a service department, Tanya Black, and she took care of it. Had a private snow removal vehicle. Was taking snow from the yard from across the street of the residence, plowing it down the long driveway, Schreiber Road, their long driveways, and putting it in the residence property across the street. Hit a mailbox and was laid over. He called the city and they fixed the mailbox. I went down and talked to the resident, tell his snow removal man about it. I had to go back 4 times till I finally caught him home. He was sorry, he didn't know it, and he said it won't happen again. I'd like to thank all the resident, District 1 especially, that came to the American Legion for our fish fry last Friday. And that will be ongoing till Easter. Stop by, eat in, or carry out. And also, at the Post 309, on the 17th of March, Tuesday, we have a corned beef and cabbage dinner, $8. Sandwiches are $6. Serving from 1 to 7, or until we run out. It's open to the public. You could call in and have your orders ready to go, or eat there. So I hope you take advantage of this fine dinner that we put on. March 17th, 1 to 7. With that, I end my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. I have to echo Alex's comments about the service guys. They are doing an awesome job in spite of the weather. I understand it was really nasty again yesterday in the afternoon with the ice, and then the snow that continued to come down. I wasn't here. I didn't miss it at all. But I did have a driveway that was kind of nasty. The snow is still piled up high, so if the rubbish guys do come around tomorrow, you might want to think about putting your cans in the driveway after you leave, or so that they can access them a little more easily. But a pat on the back to the service and guys and the folks who are driving those snow plows, sometimes very early, sometimes very late. And also a great big hooray for the, how many years has this been talked about? I think our fire chief, Castellucci, started the idea of the dispatch center many years ago, and Chief Dursek recently retired, and now Chief Kepler is unbelievable that it's finally coming to fruition. It's been a long time coming, but with all the support and the meetings and the meetings and the meetings and more meetings, I think it will be a real plus for both the dispatch center and the communities that have joined in. And you also heard previously that the announcement of the folks from Columbus coming up to answer council questions and give us a somewhat presentation of the process. And that will be next Wednesday on the 11th at 6 o'clock, and following that at 7 o'clock, we will give a brief or whatever needs to be done with the budget. And I can't give you a time on that, but it will begin at 7. And with that, since there is no further business to come before this council, this meeting is adjourned at, I think it looks like 28. Okay. There's a glare on the clock. Thank you for coming.